Hello, everyone. In 17 years of competitive career, he has won 11 victories as a professional at the highest level of competitions. Among them, the triumphs at the Night of Champions and Ironman Pro occupy a special place. He participated in 10 Mr. Olympia tournaments, 2 of which took a place on the podium. He won silver medals at the Arnold Classic for 6 years in a row. In terms of the number of prizes at professional tournaments, Chris Cormier is second only to the magnificent aging veteran Dexter Jackson, about which there was also an issue on the channel. All the more surprising is the fact that at the dawn of his career, Chris was shy about participating in competitions for a long time because of his natural modesty. Of course, he was aware of his strength and objectively assessed his form, but he was very embarrassed by the attention of a full audience. However, Cormier still found the courage to overcome his shyness, appear before the eyes of bodybuilding fans all over the world, and was able to go a long way by forever inscribing his name in the Bodybuilding Hall of Fame, world famous by the nickname The Real Deal. The future champion was born in Palm Springs, California on August 19, 1967. Chris was the youngest of 5 brothers in a large family. At that time, the young man's passion was American football, and he came to the gym to gain some muscle mass. Yes, his story is not unique in this. In an interview, Chris Cormier said that his parents sent him to school a year earlier than expected. Therefore, he did not stand out for the better among the other students. He was shorter and weighed less. However, in high school, after regular visits to the gym, the situation changed radically. Now Chris looked a cut taller and more powerful than most of the classmates and even graduates. Cormier got really into bodybuilding. His idol at that time was the famous Lou Ferrigno, and this is not surprising. At that time, Lou infected many with bodybuilding because, in addition to performing on stage, he was a movie star and starred in numerous TV series watched by teenagers around the world, which is only worth his role as the Incredible Hulk. Another impetus to the career of a bodybuilder was the event that took place in 1982. Chris's hometown hosted the Mr. Palm Spring tournament, where national bodybuilding star Mike Christian performed with guest posing. 15-year-old Cormier went to the tournament as a spectator and was literally stunned by Mike's performance. In an interview, he recalled that he could not believe his eyes at the time. It looked like there were bowling balls under Mike's skin. Chris aims to create a form as good as going on stage and connecting his life with the bodybuilding, and 3 years later, in '85, he makes his debut as a performing athlete. However, it occupies only the 4th place. Later, the champion recalled that he had never trained his legs before this competition. He took to the podium not in swimming trunks but in shorts, and everyone made fun of him. But a year later, no one was laughing anymore. Chris confidently wins the same championship. A little later, he takes 2nd place in the Mr. Southern California Championship. In 1987, Cormier took silver at the Orange County Muscle Classic tournament and won the absolute category at the California Junior Championships. At the same time, the heyday of fame of another famous bodybuilder, Sean Rayfalls. The link to the video will be in the description. Naturally, he became a role model for the still young Chris. In 1988, Cormier competed at the American Junior Championships and took 1st place there. After that, the champion decides to take a break from the competition for a year in order to gain some muscle mass. A year of hard training has brought its results. Chris improved his form and won 2 tournaments in 1990, Mr. Palm Springs and Mr. California, among adult athletes. Next, the young athlete set himself the goal of winning the California Championship. The motivation was very great. Chris himself recalls that he promised himself that if he lost that tournament, he would go to college. While preparing for the championship, Chris meets the legendary Robbie Robinson and begins to train with him. We met by chance before the Mr. Palm Springs tournament, which was held in Spain, where we were invited to pose for a guest. I learned a lot from Robbie. He's a wonderful man with high goals and iron discipline, Chris recalled. 1991 marked Chris's debut at the Mr. America Championship, where he finished 4th behind Mike Matarazzo, Dean Caputo, and Flex Wheeler. With the latter, by the way, they began to train together and later became good friends altogether. The following year, 2001, brought Chris Cormier a place in the top 5 at the Olympia, following Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, Kevin Levrone, and Sean Ray. Chris was not satisfied with his 4th place at the 1991 American Championships. He disagreed with the judges and believed that his form was better than Flex's, who beat him back then. In the thoughts of the bodybuilder, the question was whether it was worth continuing his sports career at all. The upcoming American National Bodybuilding Championship was supposed to put all the dots on the I. Chris finished 7th. It didn't seem like such a big achievement, but considering that 45 people competed, the 7th place position didn't look too bad. Cormier believed in himself and realized that he was not much different from the champions. After that, the athlete began a difficult period in his life. Family problems and an acute lack of money prevented him from exercising properly. He skips the same tournament in '92 and watches his buddy Flex Wheeler take first place there. Apparently, Wheeler's victory influenced Chris. He has firmly decided that he will take part in next year's Mr. America. A year later, he does just that and not only performs but wins and becomes the reigning champion of the best bodybuilder in the USA, joins the PRO division. Having received the status of a professional bodybuilder, Chris trains hard for almost a year and improves his form. The competitive weight rises to 105 kilograms, but he failed to repeat Flex's success and win his first professional tournament. He takes 2nd place in the Ironman, passing Vince Taylor, who is experiencing a second youth. In the same year, Chris performs at the Arnold Classic and takes 4th place, passing Kevin Levrone, Porter Cottrell, and Vince Taylor. In 1994, Chris participated in the Grand Prix of Germany, France, the Ironman Pro and Arnold Classic tournaments, and most importantly, he tried himself at the main bodybuilding tournament, Mr. Olympia, which caused a lot of noise. All the judges, without exception, were surprised by the beautiful aesthetic proportions, and they could not decide on which place to put the debutante. That's why he was called for comparison as many as 7 times. However, Cormier took only 6th place. Higher up were such titans as Dorian Yates, Sean Ray, Kevin Levrone, Paul Dillett, and Porter Cottrell, while Chris beat no one but Nasser El Sanbati, Charles Claremont, Andreas Munzer, and Sonny Schmidt. An impressive list of athletes, you must agree. Yes, the competition at the Olympia in the mid-90s was truly sky-high. In 1995, Chris Cormier traveled a lot around Europe, competing in all kinds of Grand Prix of the Old World. He returns to the stage of the Olympia and once again enters the top 6, just like a year ago. The following performances at the IFBB main tournament did not bring much success. Chris is the 7th at Olympia '96. Our hero is overwhelmed by a wave of failures. At the Night of Champions competition, the favorite takes only 4th place. After this failure, Chris falls into a long depression. He does not train much, lies on the couch for days, and eats too much pizza. His self-esteem is falling, and his motivation is also getting worse because he hasn't won a single professional tournament yet. Olympia '97 leaves him outside the top 6 again. Chris is only the 8th, and so far this is his worst result in the fight for the Sandow statuette. And here, in a difficult moment, Cormier was supported by friends, including Ronnie Coleman, Flex Wheeler, and especially Robbie Robbins. They supported Chris morally so that he would gather his strength and put himself in order to go to New York for the Night of Champions '97 competition. And finally, the long-awaited victory. In a fierce competition, Cormier defeats Milo Sarkev, Ernie Taylor, and Mike Matarazzo. With this victory, Chris begins a successful career period. He takes silver at the British, Czech, and Finnish Grand Prix. He wins the Ironman '99, becomes the bronze medalist at the Arnold Classic, and for the first time rises to 3rd place at the Olympia, where he shares the podium with Ronnie Coleman and Flex Wheeler. By the way, according to the judges, Cormier won 3 of the 7 mandatory poses against Flex, the widest in front, the widest in the back, and the hip press, and in general it seemed that the guy had found a recipe that helps make his form victorious. Without the size of Paul Dillett, Nasser El Sanbati, or Dorian Yates, he competes confidently with them due to his aesthetically harmonious forms. In 2000, Cormier excelled at the Ironman and also took 2nd place at the Arnold Classic. That year, Chris and Flex were constantly on equal terms. Cormier defeated his friend at the Ironman but lost at the Arnold Classic. For Chris himself, winning the Ironman was much more desirable, as he always wanted to win at home with the support of his friends and relatives. However, the friendship between Chris and Flex soon ended. At first, they stopped preparing for competitions together, and then they began to avoid each other altogether. That's the harsh truth of life. The following year, 2001, brought Chris Cormier a place in the top 5 at the Olympia, following Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, Kevin Levrone, and Sean Ray, as well as triumphs at the Ironman, the San Francisco Grand Prix, and the Australian Championships, plus silver in New Zealand and Britain. From 2001 to 2003, he entered 21 tournaments, of which he won 7, that is, every third one. He also stood on the podium 12 times, a total of 19 prizes, including the bronze medal at the 2002 Olympia. In 2004 to 2005, he slowed down a bit. He has performed at only 10 starts in 2 years. He takes the lead at the San Francisco Pro Tournament, twice takes silver at the Arnold Classic and the Australian Grand Prix, and once becomes the runner-up in the Netherlands and Great Britain. He goes to his last Olympia, where he cannot even get into the top 10, becoming only the 13th. At the age of 40, Chris decides to end his competitive career, but he does not stop training. Our hero still regularly visits the gym and keeps himself in good shape. Chris Cormier is a frequent guest on television shows today. He tells fans about his career path, professional tournaments, acts as an expert in the field of bodybuilding, does not hesitate to show himself on his personal blog, talks about his life, shares recommendations for novice athletes, and the iron sports community still remembers Chris as one of the greatest bodybuilders of his era. And as always, I will be grateful for your support. It helps in the development of the channel. Please like, subscribe to the channel, share the video with your friends, and do not forget to click on the bell so as not to miss the new release. Thanks for watching. Sports Guru was with you. See you later.